How's it going, bros? I'm back and ready to continue, feeling re-energized. Hold on a second. What the? Oh, I can't go back to the AFK screen now, but I'm sure that Ivanuk had a different colored name on the AFK screen. It's green in chat. I'm sure it was orange on stream. Very strange. Okay, attributes. Just gonna do like a brief description of each attribute, of course. Trying to think about how to phrase this without using the word strength 9,000 times. Can't really use the term athletic because dexterity obviously implies athletics also. So brute strength is a bit of a different thing. Okay. That can be consolidated. Just need the exact definition. That's one of the best quotes I've ever seen. The shape and musculature of a dolphin. Amazing. Well, the system or arrangement, okay, let's see, determines the physicality. The physicality, it's not really the correct term. I guess that makes sense. It's good enough. Natural or inherent? Maybe inherent. Okay, I think those serve their purpose fairly well. Strength determines the physicality of a character with regard to their musculature. Intelligence determines the mental capacities of a character, including learning and recollection. Wisdom determines the inherent abilities of a character, such as intuition and perception. Dexterity determines the speed and nimbleness of a character, including balance and reaction. Constitution determines the resilience of a character when faced with disease or physical hardship. Charisma determines the social abilities of a character, such as deception or performance. Seems reasonable. Now, I am going to have to modify my skills table, as herbalism here is going to be condensed into nature, as there doesn't really need to be two separate skills for those things. Oh, no, that's almost removed the wrong one. Okay, herbalism, there we go. Oops. Okay, identification of magical items and interpretation of magical texts. Feats such as running, jumping, climbing, grappling, 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 okay. Jumping, climbing, grappling, and other similar actions. I'm pretty sure that's a redundant skill. Let's remove that. Let me just think about this for a second. Yeah, it's definitely redundant because the magic system relies on the saving throws as opposed to any kind of skill in itself. Okay, removing more skills, which is good because it is becoming more streamlined. Fishing? No. Fighting? Preparation of ingredients? That's a pretty small description. Preparation of... Okay, ingredients, such as game and game crops and wild forageables? Is that a word? Forageables? Let's take a look. Wow, I've broken Google. It just doesn't know what to do with that. We've got one result on Google. I think that could be a record, guys. Forageables? According to this, it's not wrong. We've done it again. Four Gales? Four Gables? Dirigibles? Forageable tree? Fabulous forageable flora? Who knows? I mean, preparation of ingredients such as game, crops, and there's got to be a word. What the fuck? Term for foraged ingredients. I guess there is no word of that.
Holy shit!
What the fuck? Jesus Christ, dudes, what are you trying to do to me? What the fuck? Oh my god, bros. 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 Please. Please. I'm like... I'm physically shaking. Code Sparrow, with the £1 donation. I just can't believe that, dude. Oh my god. Are you serious, bro? Are you serious, bro? Holy fuck. That is just too generous, sir. I'm completely overwhelmed. Thank you so much, bro, for the support. That is incredible. That is the first donation since starting the donation drive, and that is the second donation I have ever received on stream. I have no words, so that is... You're making me cry. Ah. Sorry, Bruce. 1 second. Oh, Code Sparrow. I appreciate that, dude. That is just really amazing, bro. I'm just gonna try to compose myself and carry on the stream. Oh, I really am incredibly grateful for that, dude. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. Foraged plants and yeah, plants is fine. Preparation of ingredients such as game, crops, and foraged plants. Dungeoneering, okay. The ability to... Okay, no, that's not... survival in subterranean... locations and... other such ruins, something of that nature. I'm sorry, dudes. That is...
Holy shit.
What the fuck? Crazy Ivanhoe with the the 2 Great British Pounds. Oh my god, bros. Ah. Crazy Ivanhoe, thank you so much, bro. That is incredibly generous, guys. Oh, Jesus. Thank you so much, dudes. I could have never have expected this when I started streaming today. It may seem like a small amount of money, maybe it's not much to you guys. But I just...
Holy shit.
Oh my god, what the fuck, dudes? What the fuck? This is off the fucking chain right now. That is absolutely amazing, guys. I just cannot thank you enough. I'm so happy right now. It probably doesn't look like it. That is just too wonderful. This is literally like quite possibly the best day of my life in who knows how many years. Oh god, bros. I come on stream every day and I pour my heart and my soul into the games that I play and the design work that I do, and just for you guys to recognize that and be so generous with your contributions is absolutely incredible. Oh, thank you so much, bros. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna try to calm down. I'm sorry, bros. Welcome to the stream, Arnett 20. Oh, God. You've caught me at a really bad time right now. I'm so happy to have you here. I just received a couple of donations from a couple of great guys, and I'm a little bit taken aback by their generosity. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Let's design some games.
Holy shit.
What? No. No.
Toasty!
Oh my God. Anand with the follow. Thank you so much, bro. Oh, and Crazy with the £5 donation. This is outrageous, bros. This is just outrageous. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's carry on. Okay. That is just wonderful, guys. Thank you so much. Here we go. Taming. Okay, this is going to be taming and tending to horses and maintaining stables. Simple enough. Except I can't spell horses.
Holy shit.
Code Sparrow with the £6 donation. This is just ridiculous, dudes. I don't even know where you're getting the money from at this point. This is £18 donated. Oh my God. Ah, thank you so much, dudes. You what, mate? It's a throwdown. It's a showdown. It's a showdown. It's a showdown. On the donation front here, guys. Thank you so much. I just cannot believe that. Oh, Jesus. Right, let's get right back into it. Gambling. Here we go. Familiarity with games and let's put something like dice games, card games, and crad games, and betting on sport arena combat, no, and betting. Let's just leave it open-ended. Wow. Ability, no, I keep starting it with the ability. It's not necessary. It's completely redundant. Application of first aid. And the follow is more than enough, dude. If you can't donate, I would never expect you to donate. If people feel generous enough and are in a comfortable enough position in life to be able to do so, then that is wonderful. but just joining us here today is more than enough, my friend. It's more than enough. Thank you.
Toasty!
Oh my god. Code Sparrow, joining the revolution. Thank you so much, bro. I mean, this is support like never before, dudes. I was expecting a quiet stream. Just gonna design some tabletop games. Maybe interact in chat a bit. I could have never have imagined. I could have never have imagined, dudes. Application of first aid and tending to the wounded. History. Knowledge of the world and the events that shaped it. Leadership. Commanding armies and small groups of mercenaries. Commanding of armies, maybe? Speak real good. Like, okay, we got that one down. Nature. The understanding of the wilderness including its many species of plant and animal. Okay, bros, I'm just gonna grab some water real quick. You've drained me of all my fluids with your generosity. 2 seconds, bro. Sorry for the delay, guys. Let's get straight back to it. With regards to the previous comment about lowering the sounds of the volume on the notifications, The reason it's so loud is so that in a game like Reflex or something where the volume has to be really high to hear all of the audio cues and stuff, it can still be heard over the top of that. And also Stepmania, another commonly played game here on stream. It can be heard over the sound of that game. That's very loud too. So I kind of need the volume to be that high. And also, as I'm sure you can tell, it does give me a heart attack every time, basically, somehow. So that's part of the entertainment value, I think, is that you can distract me heavily from whatever it is I'm trying to do. Sorry, Ivanuk, just had to replenish my drink there. I forgot to do it on the break. That was my bad. Okay, let's get straight back to it. Navigation. Traversing the wilderness to successfully reach a desired location. Knowledge of languages from around the world. Knowledge of languages from... No, knowledge of... the various racial dialects Thank you so much for the support, Crazy Ivanuk. That is just incredibly generous of you. I'll catch you next time, dude. And please have a great night, and I wish you a great day at work tomorrow, so thank you very much. Okay, so we've got the skills in. Oh, no, 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 nope, nope, nope. Perception. Listening. Spotting. Or otherwise sensing objects. I mean, it's elements of the surrounding environment. Elements of the surrounding environment. No, that sounds like it's restricted to environmental stuff. Of course, it does apply to spotting NPCs within the environment too. Listening, spotting, or otherwise sensing environmental features. This is way harder than it looks. No, listening doesn't make sense, does it? Hearing is the term I'm thinking of. Hearing, spotting, or otherwise sensing potential hazards or items? I mean, items within the surrounding. Hearing, spotting, or otherwise sensing potential hazards or items. Potential dangers. A hazard sounds more like a trap or like a fragile ledge on a mountain path that could crumble away or something. It sort of it limits to, well, it kind of discludes NPCs again. But with potential dangers, I mean, that is a wider variety of things, I feel. Hearing, spotting, or otherwise sensing potential dangers or items within the surrounding. Potential danger. Yeah, I mean, it's good enough for now. It's good enough. I'm spending too long on that one. Performance. Musical, instrumental, or dramatized. Dramatic. Performance. In front of an audience. Persuasion. Persuasion is quite a broad one because it covers many interactions. I mean, intimidation is persuasion. Lying to someone would be persuasion. Trying to pry information out of someone would be persuasion. All of these things fall under persuasion. So it's almost like the manipulation of characters. No, the manipulation of... I mean, you can't say people because essentially other sentient beings exist within this fantasy setting. So individuals? Others? That's simple enough. Manipulation of others. To reach a desired goal? Manipulation of others to reach a desired outcome? I think that sounds okay. Religion. The maybe something like devotion. Oops, devotion to a deity. Deity? Okay, I'm going to say God, because that word clearly eludes me. Devotion to a god and the study of religious texts and artifacts. Seafaring. Well, that's fairly self-explanatory. Sailing. Okay, something like understanding of the art of sailing and navigation on the high seas. Oh shit. Okay. Stealth. Swamp Lord, welcome back, dude. How is it going? Great to have you with us again, friend. I never thought stealth would be so difficult to describe. um, discrete. Discrete? Oh, discrete, I see. Movement and action. Avoiding the attention. Avoiding drawing the attention of others. Tactics. Hold on a second. No, I've completely screwed these up. Leadership. Okay, that's tactics. And this would be the no, gaining supportive. Okay, it's like rallying the troops. It's like giving that epic speech that brings the whole town together and they unite under your leadership. You know, it's that charismatic individual with a loud booming voice and a chiseled jawline who can just, can just harness people and use them in such a way. I mean, generally, without tactics, you'll fail, but the leadership is simply the element of being inspiring. That's it, inspiring people to follow you, essentially. Gaining followers and inspiring them to enact your will upon the world. No, that's weird. Gaining followers and inspiring them to enact your will. That would make sense. Commanding of armies and small groups of mercenaries. Thievery. Sleight of hand. And a masterful... Wait. And an understanding of locks, essentially. Locks and how to break them. Bartering and bartering to secure discounts, perhaps, and to sell items easily and for a good price. That doesn't sound like the best description I've ever heard. Bartering to secure discounts and to sell items easily and sell items for a good price. Code Sparrow, what's up, bro? What if I made locksmithing plus stealth equal thievery, so skills and traits could synergize? That's a good tabletop. Well, the most popular is Dungeons and Dragons, of course. That is the most well-known tabletop game. In fact, I'm fairly sure it probably invented the genre. I could be wrong. That's a pretty good idea, Code Sparrow, but I want to keep those two separate in this case, just because they're quite different, you know? I mean, because let's say you had a hunter who is really stealthy and he can kind of stealth through the wilderness and things. It doesn't really make sense for him to also be good at locksmithing, because he's a hunter, he lives in the wilderness, he lives with nature, he understands animals and blah blah blah. It doesn't really make sense for him to have that locksmithing, but he might still need to make use of stealth. So by keeping those two separate, I think it allows other classes to potentially choose to, you know, use some stealth if they want to. Trapping. Detecting and constructing traps. Oh, detecting, disabling, and constructing traps. I'm going to put for prey, large, large and small, just to kind of give it a bit more flair. Spells. Okay, just gonna basically throw the spell tables in here. Simple enough. There's going to be a few changes here. As you can see, I've got a couple of notes, drain mana and water breathing too, I've considered including. And I was thinking about wizard spells earlier today because I don't know if you know the channel on YouTube, Node, but they do like some LAN party stuff and they play a bunch of different games, and they've been doing a D&D campaign, and I watched a few episodes of that, and the wizards there were casting various sort of lightning spells and things, and I don't have any lightning spells in my system because, you know, I kind of tried to simplify it a lot, and that kind of thing just fell to the wayside. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, how badass is it if you can just call down lightning on someone? That's pretty badass. So I may have to re-include something of that nature, but you know, that's to be worried about another time. Let's just go ahead and throw these tables in to begin with. Oh, I'm just getting confused. Okay, that's a mess. You'll have to define D20 system for me, Code Sparrow, because I've seen on here it says D20 system, and I have no idea what that means. Is it something to do with the dice being a D20? Because if that's the case, then no, but maybe. Well, shit. Come on, table, please cooperate. Why will this column not resize? The system does use a D20 for a few of the checks, etc., but it doesn't use solely the D20, of course. So I suppose it's a D20 system? I mean, for example, the saving throws will be a D20, but skill checks will be 2d6. But then attack rolls, for example, those will be a D20. So maybe it's a D20 system. Why can I not resize this thing? It just refuses. I can't do it, guys. Oh, oh shit, there we go. Nice, that was easy. Okay, I'm guessing if printed, those might be cut off at the edge. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to reduce the margin size or something to fit more stuff onto the pages. Okay, but we have the spell tables in, and really, I should probably throw these into a table just for consistency. I don't think bullet points look that great. Okay, so we just need 2 columns and 6 rows. Oh no, no, that's not true at all. We need an extra row. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's incorrect. My bad. I was thinking, like, I'm sure warriors don't have such low HP. Yeah, the cleric used to have 1d4 in an earlier version, but since the cleric class was reworked, that did change. Okay. Guess I can format this to look kind of nice like the other one. Okay, languages, I believe I had a small description over here. Excuse me, bros, sorry. All characters speak common alongside their racial dialect. Now, that's a very simplified approach to languages, but this system is supposed to be as simple as possible. Now, the reason I did this was so that you could still have kind of private conversations between either 2 individuals of the same race or 2 individuals who know the same language, whilst also not really overcomplicating the whole learning of languages and choosing languages at level 1, etc., etc. obviously, if you're interested in linguistics from a character standpoint, from a role-playing standpoint, there's nothing preventing you from, throughout the game, learning many new languages to speak. But just at level 1, when rolling a character, nice simple solution to the language problem. And common, as I'm sure if you've played World of Warcraft, is common. Okay, and receive 1d12 plus 8 gold that can be spent on weapons, armor, and equipment, but not artifacts. So the way that artifacts work in this game is there'll be artifact weapons which are basically the same as the default weapon as far as damage goes, but they have some kind of enchant, some kind of additional effect applied to them. And then there are other artifact items, and that would include things like smoke bombs for a rogue, or potions for any class. Maybe a few other things which I'm forgetting in there, but essentially rare items. And you're not really going to be able to purchase any of these things directly from some kind of vendor or NPC that trades in them. I'm definitely going to emphasize that exploration of the world and really going out there and finding these things, or at least finding a very rare NPC who could provide you with these things. It just doesn't seem right if you could go to any town and buy 10 healing potions as long as you have the gold to do so. It's just a little bit simple. There should be some more meat on the bone there when it comes to that kind of thing, in my opinion, and it is my system, so I guess you're going to have to deal with it. Okay. Gonna go back through and add Okay, I'm realizing now that many of these sections kind of become redundant. Due to the fact that they're all included within character creation. Okay, I'll worry about the table of contents later. It's really not very important. So, races, okay. Select a race from the following list. Races provide no specific advantages. God damn it. and simply serve the aesthetics of the campaign. Simply serve to modify the aesthetics of the character. And ultimately, how they interact with the world. select a class from the following list, but remember an ineffective party composition will almost certainly lead to, let's say, death instead of failure. Select a class from the following list, but remember, an ineffective party composition will almost certainly lead to death. Okay, seems reasonable. Attributes. I think what I've got there is basically fine. A lot of copy-paste going on now. So roll 3d6 6 times and assign the totals to Strength, Intelligence, Wisdom, Dexterity, Constitution, and Charisma in any order you desire. Record the attribute modifier for each. This was essentially lifted from Stars Without Number. I loved how most of the stuff in that game worked, but the major change is that in Stars Without Number you roll 3d6 6 times and you apply them in order to Strength, Intelligence, Wisdom, Dexterity, Constitution, Charisma, whereas within this system you actually choose the order in which you assign them, and that's simply to allow the player to make some intelligent decisions during character creation. And it kind of mitigates the getting incredibly poor luck and just having an awful character, which really wouldn't be very beneficial. Let's say you're a wizard and you want to cast spells and you have a 4 in intelligence and an 18 in constitution. It's probably not going to go too well. Skills. Already got the rules written up for skills here. There we go. So warriors, rogues, hunters, and bards pick any 7 unique skills, at least 3 of which must be class skills. Wizards and clerics, that should say, and clerics, pick any 5 unique skills, at least 2 of which must be class skills. So again, this is borrowing heavily from SWN, but in SWN it has a system where you have a background and a training package, and each of those 2 packages contains a few skills, around 6 or so, and if a skill appears in both of those packages, you actually gain like an additional level from level 1 in it, which is extremely beneficial to a character in that system. I thought about using the backgrounds and training packages and things. I just couldn't get my head around it. I'm too new to all of this to be thinking up these elaborate things, that these backgrounds that a character could have. It just went way above my head. So I broke the system down as best as I could, and I tried to understand the basics of it. And excuse me, bros. It resulted in this 7 unique skills, at least 3 of which must be class skills. And of course for the wizards, 5 and 2. And I believe from the testing I've done so far, those values seem to be just about fine. Now the wizard and cleric one is obviously lower because they pick spells as well. They do get 2 spells at level 1, and that's exactly what we'll do now. How much experience do I have with tabletop games? I'm actually very new to tabletop games. I have played in, let me think, . I've played in about 3 campaigns, and I've DM'd one really official campaign, and I've DM'd a few other test campaigns, of course, but those don't really count. So I'm actually very new to this. I'm of course not new to game design, so that's why my understanding of the rules and things, with a little bit of effort, I can generally get my head around them fairly successfully. But as far as the actual like fantasy settings and all this kind of thing, I'm really not that experienced at all. Did I put the skills thing in? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So as we can see here, the wizards and clerics both pick 2 spells with a mana cost no higher than 1, and they gain a mana pool which is based on either intelligence or wisdom. Fairly simple, but I feel like it worked out quite nicely, and it allowed me to balance the spells around that. So instead of having various cooldowns on spells like dailies, encounter powers, something that you can use every turn, all of these different things to keep track of, I've really sort of tried to keep it super simple, and you can just spam these spells as much as possible, essentially. But the mana cost is where the balancing comes in. So, of course, spamming Eternal Damnation with a mana cost of 4, let's think about this. Your maximum mana pool size is 18, and that's on an incredibly good day. So your mana pool is probably going to be somewhere around 12 or 14 or so. I mean, 14 is still pretty good, but around 10 to 12, let's say. So if you use this spell 3 times, you can be completely So it kind of works on a more resource-based system instead of like a cooldown system. And it just minimizes the tracking. All you need to look at is your mana pool and what spells you know how to cast. And I quite liked that. One of the problems I had when I did play Dungeons and Dragons was how much tracking was going on. I imagine if you have the spell cards, it's very useful because you can flip them over when you've used it and flip it back, and it's going to help you visually keep track of things that are going on. But there was just so much tracking, and that's fine if you enjoy that system, that's great, but I really want to keep it fast-paced, because in the middle of a fight, you really want there to be action, and you want a 6-second round to really take 6 seconds and just keep pumping the adrenaline and stuff. But with D&D, I would find myself there. I was reading skills all the time and referencing things, and it just became like it was just a lot slower. It was a lot more strategic in a way, which isn't a bad thing. But I want to give combat the real like feeling of combat. That's a big focus for me in this system. And I was really pleased with how the healing spells worked out, because, as you can see, with a healing prayer, one ally restores 1 hit dice plus wisdom hit points per mana spent. So that means you could essentially drop 9 mana and give someone 9 of their class's hit dice, plus your wisdom for each mana spent as well. So that's stacking. So you can grant a huge heal, but you will be out of mana for days potentially, or just one day. I'm not quite sure how to do the mana regeneration yet, but we'll see. We'll think about that. Obviously, that's going to be quite a big part of balancing the spells. And it just worked out so nicely with the 1 to 9 being spent on the healing prayer, and the 1 to 18 is what you can spend on the AoE heal. And of course, your mana pool can't get any higher than 18. It's not actually possible. So it just worked out numerically. It just fits super nicely, and that was almost completely coincidental. I did try a couple of other methods initially before it clicked and the penny dropped, and I realized, like, I can just use the hit die system, and it just all fell into place so nicely. So we got the hit point table. Might have a small, yeah, roll your hit die. Nothing very complicated there. Let's roll your class-specific hit die. Add your Constitution modifier. Add your Constitution modifier and record the result. Okay, just checking the time there. We are coming up to the second break of today's stream, but I feel like we can do a bit more before that becomes necessary. I'm just going to delete the table of contents for now because I keep thinking about it, and it's just distracting me really. So no need for that until everything else is in place anyway. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to keep this feature or not. It definitely needs playtesting before I can make a final decision, but initially I was thinking that casting with no available mana could consume hit points in order to allow you to cast still. So in some kind of extremely desperate situation where you've exhausted your mana pool and the party absolutely is relying on you to pull out one extra spell in the encounter or something, you can sacrifice some health to do so. Not sure how it's going to play out fully. I feel like it could be quite good, but you never know. It might be overpowered. It could be a problem, so definitely going to have to see how it plays out. Okay, let's just start throwing these systems in. I could probably throw it all across and then reformat it and then go through and make any changes that are needed. Oh, there we go. Higher rolls act first. In case of a tie, players always act first. attacks. So again, this is lifted straight from the Stars Without Number system. And if you're not familiar with that system, a lower AC is actually more beneficial. So it's kind of reversed from how it appears in D&D, for example. So if you have an AC of 0, you're doing great. If you have an AC of 9, you're naked. So it's 1d20 plus the AC of the target that you're attacking, plus your attack bonus, your combat skill, and any attribute modifiers, and then any additional bonuses they have for whatever reason. And then that's exactly the same as SWN, but the change that I implemented is on a natural 20 deal maximum weapon damage. So I added crits, and then to kind of counterbalance the crits, on a natural 1 the weapon breaks, and in the case of a bow, the string breaks. Restringing, maybe this should be a new sentence, restringing a bow requires 1 turn. Damage is simply weapon damage. Fall damage is, again, lifted straight from SWN. A successful luck saving throw halves the damage. There is an artifact item which automatically halves all fall damage, which I thought was pretty cool. Encumbrance, again, lifted straight from SWN. A lot of this stuff could potentially change, but I really like how that system functions, and I essentially want to create a fantasy version of it, but without just directly ripping it off. So I will try to add my own influences as much as possible. Mana, of course, that's completely unique to this system. And resurrection, so this is quite interesting because often in these tabletop games, if someone goes down during an encounter, you can res them up and they can keep fighting potentially till the end of that encounter. In this system, there is no combat resing, and this is to drastically increase the sense of pressure in an encounter. If someone goes down, they are down until the end of that encounter. There's nothing that you can do about it except fight to the end of the encounter and then try to deal with the downed party members. So if a player is incapacitated during an encounter, they cannot be stabilized until the encounter ends. A healing skill check versus difficulty class 6 must be made to resurrect a fallen party member. After a successful attempt, the target is returned to consciousness with 1 hit point. After a failed attempt, the target is dead. And of course, things like a healing kit and a higher healing skill drastically increase your chances of successfully saving party members. I'm fairly pleased with how this is shaping up. Could perhaps do something with the skills. Just to, I don't know, just to format the page more nicely instead of it just being an endless list of stuff, which it does appear to be right now. And a couple of Dungeon Master rules here, fleeing and morale. Can throw those in under the systems section. That's going to be fine for now. Again, morale, it's straight from SWN. It's basically the one saving grace that the players actually have, because the encounters are so incredibly difficult. Like, a player can literally just be one-shot by a creature at almost any moment in time. There's never any sense of safety at all. However, when you draw first blood, the enemy must make a morale check and potentially surrender or flee. Now, of course, some creatures have an incredibly high morale score and will very rarely surrender, so it's still difficult, but you have that chance to escape or circumvent the encounter due to your opponent's morale being broken. And then again, after 50% mortality, the enemy makes a morale check and the same effect applies. And fleeing is an opposed athletics check. I mean, that's simple enough. I'm pretty damn pleased with what we've got going on here so far, guys. Let's just read the introduction and recap right to the beginning of today's stream and see exactly how it sounds now that we're as deep as we are. The rules of this system are designed in such a manner as to encourage fast-paced and spontaneous campaign and encounter progression. Drawing inspiration from many sources, new and old, this game offers a minimized rule set that will not appear intimidating to new players, while simultaneously offering enough depth to accommodate veterans of the genre. Dungeon masters with a vision of their own should find this system perfectly suitable. However, there are also tools provided which allow for the procedural generation of a world filled with adventure. The setting. The world is a harsh and unforgiving. I fucked that up immediately. The world is harsh and unforgiving. Humanity clings to a fragile form of civilization, dotted throughout the seemingly endless wilderness. Kings and queens control vast numbers of fearful citizens by offering some vague sense of security within walled cities guarded by their personal armies. Most humans seek some kind of stable existence within these settlements. However, there are a brave or possibly reckless few who wish to control their own destinies. That should say striking out into the wilderness in search of power and the wisdom to control. Let's say that power. I mean, I know it just says power twice, but it sounds badass, so. And then you just dive straight into character creation. Got races with a small description. I may need to go more in depth with those in the future, that's for sure. Classes, small description of each. That's going to be expanded. In fact, could do this now. Let me just think this over, because for the hunter I was thinking of including cold shots, which was a thing I experienced in a Dungeon World campaign, and I thought it was a pretty good way of making the hunter a little bit more interesting than just repeatedly firing the bow, which can be a bit lame. So you can call like a leg shot for the potential to slow your opponent. You can call shots onto the arms or hands to potentially disarm an opponent. You can call a chest shot or a torso shot to gain a +1 to hit, or you can call a headshot to gain +1 to damage. And I know in D&D I believe there's a hunter's mark system where you apply a hunter's mark to a single target and then you gain some bonus to hit it or something similar to that. And I didn't really want to have to do that, because even though it's very simple, you have to track exactly where your hunter's mark is. And it's just an extra thing to track, and of course we're all about minimizing that. So I've decided to go for the cold shot thing, where if you want to gain a +1 to hit, you just have to say that you're making a torso shot. And also, each one of these is going to have to include the class special ability. So I'll go ahead and throw those in now. What heading is that? That's heading 3. Heading 4. Okay, I did a euro sign. What? There is no heading 4, right? Or is there? Control-Alt-4, that's exactly what I pressed. And it just gave me a euro. Okay. What? It's underlined? Fair enough. Okay, instead of doing that, I'll just put the actual name. what did I call the rogue ability? Shadow Strike or something? Oh, Assassination, of course. Yeah, that's way cooler. I just get euros. God damn it. Okay, now what's going on? There's... This is a nightmare. I'm gonna have to go to this menu every time. There we go. Let's do these first because it's simple enough. Well, actually, I can just copy and paste the others in, which is even simpler. I'm getting confused with this page break here. There we go. Gain a mana pool equal to your total intellect score. Mana pool equal to your total wisdom score in this case. Okay, and I should just be able to copy these straight across. I think these descriptions are fairly complete, though they may need readjusting. So once per encounter, the warrior completely negates a successful attack made against them. Simple enough, and that one is taken directly from SWN. There's one change, and that in SWN, the special abilities work once per hour of actual play time, not in-game time. And again, that was just, you had to track it, you have to have a timer, or you have to look at the clock when you use it, and remember that in 60 minutes, you're going to have your class special ability back again. And I just didn't really like that. It didn't feel necessary, especially considering encounters seem to happen about once per hour anyway, with the general flow of a campaign within that system. Again, it's going to have to be tested, but I'm fairly sure it's a reasonable change. True Shot, of course, a completely original ability. Well, maybe not completely. It's probably been done somewhere. Once per encounter, the hunter re-rolls a missed ranged attack roll. The rogue assassination ability, just simply attacking with both weapons simultaneously, which of course means that you can apply both poisons simultaneously if you have them equipped. The Bard Inspirational Performance. Now this again is a modified ability from SWN. It was the Expert class ability in SWN. I shall explain it momentarily. So once per encounter, the Bard inspires one ally, allowing them to re-roll a failed skill check. Now that's being able to re-roll a failed skill check is quite significant. That can really drastically alter the outcome of a situation. So what I did was I made it so that the bard can give that to their allies, because I was worried that the bard would become an underused class, as I've heard it has done in other systems. I've heard it often gets ignored or isn't very viable or useful to a party. So I really wanted to push the bard and make sure it had a great supporting role, and I think this skill achieves that. So again, it's going to need testing, but I'm fairly pleased with it. And as far as a name for this system goes, I have absolutely no idea at all. I've been thinking, like, I want something with the word dungeon in it, probably, because I'm going to heavily emphasize dungeon crawling. There's something I really like about slugging it through a dungeon, facing bosses and all that epic shit, finding a treasure room full of all kinds of wealth, and just that kind of shit it's badass. Like finding, traps, disarming traps, getting caught in traps, encountering all kinds of horrors in the dark, etc., etc. All of that excites me a lot when I'm at the table playing a role-playing game. So really do want to put a heavy emphasis on that dungeon crawling and on that world exploration. So I could call it Dungeon Explorer, but I feel like that probably exists somewhere, and it also isn't that catchy. So I'm going to give it some thought for a while, and eventually I might think up something that sounds pretty badass as a name, and then I can finally rename this stream to the real name of the system instead of designing a new tabletop role-playing system. That will be a good day. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this over to another break now, bros. Thank you so much for joining me here. Let's jump over to the webcam for a second whilst I ramble on. I cannot believe the donations that have come in today. Guys, it's I just don't know. I don't even know. I'm completely flabbergasted by your generosity, and I really mean that, dudes. It's tremendous. Like I said, I never could have expected that this stream would go so well today, and it's all thanks to you. So I really appreciate the support, dudes. It's tremendous. I'll be back after another 20-minute break. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to some video games after the break. I'm going to do some Step Mania. It's a rhythm game. I know it's very different from the whole development side of things, but it's been a good day, and I don't want to force myself to go too much further today. I want to keep this thing fresh and exciting to me, so I'll return to it again in a few days, and we'll continue developing this system, and hopefully you'll join me for that. So thanks again, bros. I'll be back after this small break. Peace out.